Cool, we're live. So I'm gonna give you a tour of the office today because it's Wisdom Wednesday and schools are no longer in session, but all of our impact managers are back in the office. So we have a full group. So here we go. This is our office. This is Claire. Hi. She's filling in up here at our front desk. Our lovely wall. Hi, BA. We're gonna come chat with them later, too. Oh, and people are in the boardroom, so we're not gonna go in the boardroom. We have talked a lot about our culture already, but you'll see different culture pieces on the walls, even of the office. So hopefully they'll start to look pretty familiar. This is our city year pledge, so you'll also know this coming up soon. Our values. And then our long-term vision. Okay. So it's dark in here right now, but this is where we do all of our trainings. This is called the MLK space. That quote on the other side says, "Everybody can be great because everybody can serve." Not too much happening in here right now, but you can see, I don't know if anybody's following the weather, but it's really dry here, so we have some fires happening. So normally you would be able to see the mountains out there, but there's a lot of smoke covering them, unfortunately. But we're right downtown. You might be able to see the Capitol building, but maybe not. Nope, Capitol building is right back there behind those trees. So this is the impact manager space, and they're all at their desks. This is our executive director's office. Morris, he's not here. Kitchen, we call this the action pod, so that's where you can sit down, eat, snack, etc. More PITWs. This one should look pretty familiar if you've come to a virtual orientation, actually, because we talk about it there. More PITWs. We also have founding stories. Oh, these are all PITWs. Hi, Caleb.
Hi.
My messy desk. Open space. You'll be able to use this open space yourself. And then we also have cubbies for storing your backpacks and everything. When everybody has the exact same city year backpack, it gets a little confusing. Lots of windows and light in here. Okay, so we're gonna go back up and grab Brittany Ann and Claire, and we're gonna chat with them. You guys ready?
Ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Cool. Just go back there?
Yeah, we can just sit on the couches. I didn't realize anybody would be in the boardroom, but I think we'll be okay because we're not super loud.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
So, cool. So, before we get started, everybody hopefully knows I'm an alum. So, oh, perfect. So I served with City Year Boston in 2011, 2012, but we have two City Year Denver alums here. And I should back up so you're both in, well, I'll just zoom in on each of you so that we know we're loud enough.
All right.
So I'll let them introduce themselves and the roles they've had at City Year and talk a little bit about their City Year journey.
Cool. Hello, my name is Brittany Ann. I am now an impact manager at City Year Denver. So I manage a team of City Year Corps members at an elementary school. I've been here, I'm going on 4 years. My first 2 years I was in the Corps. I started as a Corps member, and then I did another year as a senior Corps member. My first year I was in an elementary school, second year I was at a middle school, and now I'm back in the elementary school world. So it's been quite a journey, but I'm still here and really happy to be here.
Hi, I'm Claire, and actually just finished up my Corps year. I started in last July and I finished my 1,700 hours. And after graduation, most people went off into the world to do their own thing or to go to grad school. And I'm actually staying here in the office to take over for the site operations manager who is on maternity leave. So I'll be here for another couple months.
And what was the name of your awesome impact manager, Claire?
So my impact manager is actually sitting right here next to me. Her name is Brittany Ann, and she was the best impact manager. I was also at Valverde Elementary, and I loved it.
Okay, perfect.
So nice. I'm the best impact manager. Don't take that too seriously.
We do have a couple other alumni as part of our impact staff. Tony and Aaron and Jasmine all served as well. They served in Philly and Chicago, but we're going to talk about Denver today. And I have a couple ideas myself that I kind of ran by you, but before we get started, now that you're out of the Corps, what would you say is your best piece of advice or something that you learned or what you think is important for a Corps member to think about and keep in mind as they start their City Year journey?
Who goes first?
Either one of you.
Okay.
Cool.
I think the thing that you need to really strengthen while you're here is adaptability and humility, because you are working for a nonprofit and you're doing it 50 hours a week and you're going to be asked to do things that you didn't think you would be asked to do. But the best advice I can give is kind of just roll with it. And you have so many people on your side. You have the entire office on your side. You have your impact manager. There's an impact actually there's 2 impact directors now.
Yeah.
And your fellow team members are going to be on your side. So just roll with it. Be adaptable. You'll have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I think the number one thing is flexibility, because there's no way we can predict what your role will look like before you get here. And so there will be a lot of surprises and fun things that just happen naturally that you would have never been able to predict. And it's important to keep an open mind and an open heart when you're serving, and you maybe find yourself in different environments that you're not really sure how to operate in, and that's okay. I think the most important part is to build relationships with your team and your leaders, and to always ask questions and know that people are here to support you, and just be creative. There's a lot of power that we have as Corps members, because we don't have the responsibility of teaching a class of 25 kids, and we don't have the responsibility of being in teacher meetings and etc. We plan our own added value of interventions for kids, and we also plan events and we plan initiatives. I did something as simple as a weekly reward for good behavior with the students that I worked with, and it was something that they really appreciated and were excited for, and we saw a really positive change. So see where you can, your skills can be utilized, and be creative and open-minded.
Yeah. And if you have anything, jump in too, Claire, if you think of anything, but I was going to also say adaptability and managing your expectations. I think adaptability and flexibility go hand in hand, but adaptability is more than just going with the flow. It's also growing with that and changing your behavior to progress and get better. And things happen in the school all the time that we can't predict. Like Brittany Ann said, kids are kids. You don't really know what's going to happen day to day, and you might be asked, like Claire said, to do things that you didn't realize you were going to need to do, because that's the unique needs of your school and your kids. So managing those expectations and knowing that, your role in an elementary school classroom could look different from being in a high school math classroom or a middle school lit classroom. So managing your expectations and knowing that you're here to serve the kids that need you, regardless, is important.
I think you'll get a couple surprises too. Like once you get here in July, end of July, you're gonna be put on teams. I think the first time I ever had to be adaptable was being placed in an elementary school. Actually, now that I think about it, because I really wanted high school, and because like I got like my degree in math, and I was like they're gonna put me in the calculus class, and they didn't. They put me in elementary school, but like
K through 5 Spanish speaking classrooms, and she killed it.
But yeah, they were like, yeah, you're gonna do this in Spanish the entire day, K through 5. Like, I had like a pretty out there role for a core member, so that's not normal. But like because like I was adaptable, like I actually ended up having a really good time, and I was surprised by one, how much I liked little kids, and two, how much impact I could have on grades K through 5. So like there's a saying where it's like grow where you're sown. Bloom where your bloom where your seed like grows in the ground, whatever. It's something like that. But do that. Like grow wherever your seed is sown.
Yeah, that's important too. I think I probably said this before, but if people haven't heard me, like I've worked with every grade level, and that, you know, my favorite is middle school, and I love middle school, and everybody knows that, but I've worked with pre-K, I've worked with elementary, 1st through 3rd, I've worked with my 6th graders and 8th graders, and I've worked with high school students, and that's important for me and like informs the way I work with different age groups now, and is a huge resume builder, just because if I had only said I've worked with elementary school kids and I want to be in elementary school, I wouldn't have learned how to grow and work with middle schoolers and high schoolers and have that wealth of experience. So I think that's important to remember too.
Yeah.
So, but the next thing, unless you have anything else to add.
I could go on forever, really. But just number one thing is have faith in what you're doing, because you don't see the fruits of your labor on a daily basis, and not every interaction with a student is going to be positive. In fact, it may feel more negative sometimes, but your consistency and your efforts and showing up every day in uniform is huge for those students, and the way that you work with them does create change, but it doesn't always feel like that. But at the end of the year, you look back and you say, wow, look how far I've come, look how far these students have come. It's all worth it. So just know, like, to trust the process and be consistent.
Yeah, trust the process. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're going to talk about housing and transportation a little bit. Both things people are worried about right now.
Yeah.
I have gone over neighborhoods and things in the virtual orientations. And then we have the website with all the neighborhood recommendations, and average rent is on there, and then quotes from all the core members that live in those neighborhoods about what they like and what they don't like. So 2 years ago, Hale was the top ranked neighborhood. The year after that was Sloan's Lake, and then this year was Baker. So those are all on there. We talk about Park Hill a little bit, and then sometimes the Highlands. People can sometimes find things in the Highlands. It's just few and far between. Yeah,
I'm kind of surprised.
Right. Yeah. And then I live in Berkeley. I love Berkeley. That's where you served your first year, but people have told me it's for old people, which I appreciate. So knowing, Brittany, and you've been here a while, you've known a lot of core members, and then Claire just finished serving, so her advice is very recent. So what?
And also, I live here.
Yeah, so. You're from here, just like me. Yeah. So in terms of housing and neighborhoods, what advice do you have? And if people have questions, like, this is a great time to throw them out there so we can answer them.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would say, like, first of all, I know the challenge of trying to find a place to live when you don't live in the state and you're not able to actually go see the place and talk to somebody in person, and it feels kind of like you can't really grasp it in the moment. But I would say, like, use your resources that are available to you. One of those resources is the website that we have, and it's been shared with all of you. So, look at, like, the living tab and see, like, what's up with housing resources on there. I would also say that there is an option for low-income housing. There's an apartment complex in the Coors Field, which is where the Rockies play baseball Diamond Prospect.
Yep.
I would look into that because you can get a really nice place for a pretty good price, and I think you can do either 1 or 2 bedroom. That's a great place to live. And I really, as of now, I reside near the Sloan's Lake area, and there's a lot of houses that are for rent in that area that are affordable on the budget that you have. So that's my favorite area personally. And
I don't want to totally interrupt there, but before you keep going, houses do tend to be cheaper. I have that on the website too, but when she talks about houses in Sloan's Lake, don't forget to try to look at houses that way using Zillow or other websites. I think a lot of the time, we get caught up on apartments and things because it's easy to search for those, but houses tend to have cheaper rent than apartments. So
for sure.
Keep going on that, but just
totally
on that note.
Yeah, I say Craigslist even, a lot of times, that's how I just moved into a house in September, and it would have been affordable when I was on a core member budget, which is really nice. But I found it on Craigslist, and I don't think it was posted anywhere else. So just make sure you do the right background checks in terms of where you're who you're speaking with and where you go. But I would also say that since you do have impact buddies, we have an impact team that is reaching out to each of you individually. Use them. If you find a place and you're concerned about it and you're not sure, reach out, send a text, call them and say, what do you think about this location? And because we live here and we've been here for a while, we're able to know whether or not it would work. And just ask. If you find a place, ask somebody, reach out to your impact buddy. I think that is a huge help. And then if you're in Denver looking for housing, there is a chance that some of the housing you might find isn't posted online. I've seen a lot of apartments for rent and buildings or in houses for rent that aren't posted. If you want to take a ride around the city and figure out what feels right for you, you can do that as well.
Yeah, a couple. And that's good advice to always reach out to us because we can do that.
Yeah, easy.
And check it out. So
happy to help. So let us know.
For the impact buddies, I had one other thing and I don't remember what
transportation.
It was. Oh, I meant in response to you, but maybe I'll come up with it. But yeah, perfect. Thank you. What about you, Claire? And this kind of feeds into commuting and transportation, but what have your teammates said recently, and what's your situation like?
So I can't give that much experience on living in Denver because I'm born and raised in Southeast Denver. So I actually stayed with my parents the entirety of my core year. Didn't have to pay rent. It was pretty lit. And I commuted for 2 hours every day, and it actually wasn't too bad because they gave us free RTD passes. And I live right next to Lincoln Station. I know you're not from here, but this is Denver. Go down, 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 down. Lincoln Station is the very end of the light rail. And so I commuted on that for about 40 minutes and then took a little bus to Valverde. And so if you're a patient person like me, I wouldn't be afraid of living in metropolitan Denver because metropolitan Denver is huge and there's buses everywhere. So yeah, and you get free transportation, so that is also an option.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned humility at the beginning of yours, and that's important too with public transportation piece. I think sometimes people are a little bit afraid of it if they haven't used it very often, but it's important to get out of your comfort zone and be comfortable doing that because a lot of people rely on that. And I have shared this with a couple people. I've only recently started talking about it more because it didn't even cross my mind, but like you said, my commute to school was 2 hours. My commute home was an hour and a half. That was part of my year. I signed up for a year of service, and I chose to live where I chose to live, and got placed. I mean, I loved my school and my team, and that was just the way it worked out because I chose to use public transportation. So I hope that not everybody has that long of commutes, but it's just important to have that humility that you mentioned and know that that's what you're here to do and make it work and be patient, like you said.
Totally.
So, so that was a perfect segue to transportation. What other things do you want to add to that?
I've been lucky enough to not have to use public transportation this year, but for my first 2 years of service I did. And the commute is typically at the most an hour and a half, like at the most, typically 45 to an hour for an average Corps member. And it's easy to navigate. It's not difficult here. It's all Google Maps. 100%. Like, you can go into Google Maps, you put your destination in, you hit directions, and then you have an option to hit like a car, a person walking, or a bus. You hit the bus, and it gives you the exact route of where you need to go. It gives you different options for different routes, and it tells you like what time the bus will be picking you up at this stop. So you can actually hit go on the bus direction, and so it'll have you navigating on the bus, like sort of directions, I guess. And when you're following them, you can actually like get off the bus and walk down a path, and it'll show you which way you're going. Like, and it'll show you, like, if you zoom in, which side of the street the bus stop is on. Yeah. I don't know about you all, but I'm very directionally challenged, and so it took me a while to learn how to use that. But it's pretty cut and dry, and it's the best resource that I was able to use to get myself to and from service. And there's also a button that you can hit that allows you to plug in an arrival time and a departure time. Okay. So if you need to be at service by 7:15, you can say arrive at 7:15, and then it'll give you the route you need to take, starting from when you need to leave the door to when you need to be there. And if you are using public transportation, I would always try and not shoot for the bus that gets you there at 7:28 if you need to be there at 7:30. Because chances are that you'll be late more than once, and we have like very unpredictable weather here too, so you never know. I would go for the stop before that. So like I had to be there at 7 o'clock last year every day. However, I got there at 6:45 because I knew that if I took the bus that got me there at 6:59, I would likely be late. Yeah, so that's important to keep in mind. Google Maps all the way. I'm the biggest fan of it. Happy to talk to you about it in person as well when you get here.
I completely agree with
that's
that.
all Google Maps.
Claire seconds that.
Google Maps all the way. Just be like, arrive by Monday, 7:25 a.m. Well, 7:20 a.m. And that's what I've always done. And also, like, mine was pretty easy. It was literally like the your F line and then the 3 bus on Alameda. So do not be afraid of Denver transportation.
Yeah, it's easy.
Okay, that's good. And that's also, I didn't realize Google Maps was so up to date because, I mean, I supported Dallas and I take public transportation there, but you have to have your own app to do everything.
That's weird.
That's where their ticket system is like an app on your phone.
Interesting.
Yeah, and when I was in Boston, I like had a little like app that would give me directions. So it's good to know Google Maps has like caught up to speed.
For sure.
And yeah, when it's snowing, public transportation still runs. It's just usually pretty delayed. So that was a good question we had, was what happens when it snows?
Yep. Prepare for that. Go early.
Yeah, so you just have to leave super early. And sometimes, I mean, I don't recommend this for the day-to-day, but sometimes if it's not like a busy time, I know some people take Uber. So even if one of your buses is running and then the other one is super delayed, but you're closer, you could always grab that pretty
sometimes
quickly.
You can get really good deals on like Uber and Lyft too if you use it often. Like I can get a Lyft here from my house for $3. If I needed to. So, you know, in those kind of scenarios where you're at a loss, if that's what needs to happen, then it's an option too.
Yeah. Like I said, don't rely on that, but like...
Don't rely on it,
if you can get there part of the way, there's other, you know, or other bus routes, things like that. So, anything else for transportation?
Don't lose your bus pass.
Yeah, don't lose your bus pass.
You'll get a bus pass every month. You'll have to reapply for it every month. You'll have to submit something for it online. Your impact manager will help you more with that. But hang on to it because it gets you pretty far in your service years.
I gotta say though, most people actually get a car. I think like the majority of Corps members like use their car for daily travel because they got a car to come to Colorado so they can come see the mountains on the weekend. So, yeah.
And that's important to remember too. I think a lot of people think we're in the mountains. And I've said this on the virtual
like
orientation, but we're not in the mountains. Denver is called the Queen City of the Plains.
Yep.
You can see the mountains, but it is a little harder to get up into them. There's trains and buses that run to a lot of the ski resorts, but but getting just like a casual you can't really take a bus to like a hiking trail, so
No.
you would want to have a car.
For sure. And I think
for that.
also with that, a lot of core members carpool.
Yeah.
Because either they live close to each other or it just makes sense. So not not every core member is taking the bus to and from work every day. So, you can work that out with your team as well when you get here.
Yeah. Or if you know somebody lives close, if you have a car, I mean, at least for me, I know a lot of people set up a thing where they just gave their teammate $5 or $10 a month to help with gas and all of that. So you could, make arrangements with people that way. And if you have your car, that might be a way for you to get a little bit of money to put towards that. Yeah. Carpooling and yeah, I mean, I am from here, like Claire, and I recommend having a car if you can have one, but we know that not everybody can.
Yeah.
So
I'm still working on that too.
and a lot of people bike here too.
Yes,
so.
It's a very active place. Bring your bicycle if you have one.
I don't see any more questions. So we're probably done, but if people come up with anything, you can comment here and we'll answer, just like all the other videos. So thank you.
Nice to meet all of you virtually. Didn't really meet anyone, but I'm excited for you to get here.
And check your voicemail if BA called you. Brittany
did,
Ann.
yes.
She called a lot of you. So.
I did. Got some good responses too.
Oh, good. All right. Okay, we'll be here. Bye.